Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Chris Murray Report on WURD Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, man, this has been quite a week in sports, and I gotta say, just to looking locally, man, your Philadelphia Phillies, whether you watch baseball or not in Philadelphia, I get it, some of y'all don't watch baseball, but your Philadelphia Phillies are in first place in the National League East, and it's amazing, given how all of this team struggles this year. Jordan, they're in first place. Okay,
Out of
they are
nowhere.
in first place. I don't believe it, but they played well, and it just goes to show you that hey, the Mets aren't as good, or maybe the Phillies are just starting to come around. They picked up this kid Kyle Gibson last week during the trade deadline, and I thought that he had a tremendous effort. He had definitely a tremendous effort last night, going 6 innings. He went 6 innings last night, and he allowed just 4 hits and 1 run. Had an RBI single to help his own cause, and he held the Mets to 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position, and he worked his way out of a couple of jams last night, and which I thought was interesting because a lot of times, pitchers have difficulty in working their ways out of jams, and that was huge. They had a double play. It was a double play in the fourth inning, I want to say, when the Mets had runners on, and he got a double play, and then there was another double play in the eighth inning as well that basically, just put the Phillies on, it was a close game. But then Bryce Harper, and I want to talk about that. The offense has always been there, inconsistent at times. I mean, you've had different guys, but Bryce Harper, I don't know if you saw the game last night, Jordan, but Bryce Harper is really starting to just really come around for this team. Are you now hopeful as a fan? You always want your local team to do well.
hmm
Are you hopeful that the Phillies can hang on to this lead?
I seriously hope so because they did some moves in the off like at the deadline and stuff, but still got some bullpen still bullpen's still the question pretty much. So like, can they hold the leads and all
Right.
that? So, but I'm just curious to see how they do like this second half of the season and see how they
Yeah.
do come in the playoff time.
Well, let's say Bryce Harper has reached base safely
hmm
in 15 straight games. Wow,
Yeah.
15 straight games, and he hit that home run last night. I wanted to tell. There's a sound bite that I wanted to use from last night's action because I asked Joe Girardi about the offense, and I asked him. I says, what do you think of this offense? And basically, he's been pretty good. Can you play that for me, Jordan? Because you talked about that last night.
Gotcha.
Our offense has not been whole a lot of the season. It's not whole right now. We're missing Reese and we're missing McCutcheon. But guys have found a way. And I've said that this group is very resilient. We went through a 2-week stretch about a month ago. We had so many tough losses, it was unbelievable. But they never quit. They never stopped working. They work at their craft. And right now, it's paying off. We're swinging the bats pretty good. And Stroman's tough. We faced him 5 times this year. We really haven't hit him around great, but we've done it. We did enough tonight to beat him, and he's a good pitcher. And you got to beat good pitchers.
Yeah. So the Phillies are now 57 and 53, 4 games. I think that's like the highest that they've been on over 500, and they've won 6 in a row.
Yep.
They won 6 games in a row, and yes, they won 4 games against a sorry Nationals team and a sorry Pirates team. Yeah, but you know what? You gotta win those games. You gotta
Absolutely.
beat teams below 500, and the Phillies' schedule is favorable. And I think they could party. They might be able to party for the first one, at least get into the playoffs. I'm going to say they're going to win it all because, this team is really going to be tested because they got the world champion or the World Series champion L.A. Dodgers
Uh-huh.
coming into town, and the Dodgers, no matter what you want to say, they are loaded.
Yep.
They got, I think they even signed former Phillies pitcher Cole Hamilton. They should have signed. They should. I don't know why the Phillies didn't go after Cole Hamilton. I think you need a good, you need another good 4 or 5 starter. And if they have though, if you have Cole Hamilton in that rotation, you'll be in the playoffs. I don't know how far you're
Oh,
gonna
for
go.
sure. Yeah.
I don't know how far you're going to go, but hey, you're in. And to me, I mean, you may not win the World Series. I always say this, to me, success, if you consistently go to playoffs or postseason in any sport, whether it's the Eagles, Sixers, if you're going every year, I'd rather you go every year and not win it all. I mean, you might win it all maybe once or twice, 3 times. I don't know. But I still like to keep going. I
Hmm.
mean, you're not winning. And this is the way I think fans in this era really, are really insane in the sense that, I appreciate like those Buffalo Bills teams that went to the Super Bowl 4 straight years. I mean, come on. I mean, sometimes you may not win it all. Sometimes other guys might be a tad better than you. But my thing is keep going. Keep going. This all or nothing, we don't win it all. We can't win it all every year. You're not going to.
No.
You may try, and you may win 2 in a row and then lose 3 in a row. If you're getting there every year, my thing is get there. Just make the pool. Anything can happen in the playoffs. You might win it all, you might lose it all, but anything can happen when you get in the playoffs. So that's one thing. Since I've been watching, and I've been an Olympics junkie this week. Watching the Olympic Games, I mean, you want to win the gold, but you want to be on that podium too if you don't. I
That's right.
mean,
Hmm.
and unlike, say, the U.S. men's 4x1 team, make the finals with your best guys. I mean, and work on that baton exchange. That baton exchange, I want to talk about, that wasn't the only thing. I mean, the men had some decent performances, but couldn't win a gold. And it was kind of a problem in the individual track events. The United States team, I'm going to say we, but the U.S. team did not win an individual gold. In the 400-meter hurdles, a kid from Norway just blew out the entire field, and both the gold medalist and the silver medalist for the United States broke the world record. I mean, that was one of the great things of the track week is that and we're going to have, we can get Shalise Manson-Young from Tokyo, from Yahoo Sports to talk about it. Because I want to talk about the women. I'm kind of saving the best for last here. But one of the things that happened with the men, I think you had a lot of young guys. You had a lot of young guys on that team. And then in the 4x1, I don't know what they were thinking. And I know track and field well enough to, one, get your best guys. Because I think the United States, kind of overestimated how stacked they were in sprinters. And I think they put a B team out there in the qualifying heats. And I'm sorry, that's just something, you don't do that. I mean, especially when I know the U.S. teams have been successful. They haven't. I mean, they've been on the low end of those races, the silver medal end of those races against the Jamaicans when they had Hussein Bolt and Asafa Powell. It was hard to win those, but you got to put your best foot forward. The men did now. I would say this, and I saw this morning because, like I said, I am a track and field junkie, and I was up early this whole week to the point that I'm dead tired. But I was up early to watch the track and field events, and the men finally got the gold on the track because another guy won the gold in the shot put. But the men finally, and also in the pole vault. That's right, the men got gold in the pole vault. I think the men won. Let me double check that. But but on the track, the men's 4x4 team blew out the field in the what we call the 1600-meter relay, which is traditionally called the mile relay, and the men basically won. That's the one thing the men won on the track, and I was happy to see that because that's something. And to me, if the U.S. had lost the 4x4, I mean, that's a race we win all the time. I mean, any track meet you go to watch, the last race of the day is the 4x4. And United States traditionally, I think there might have been one year. I think it might have been 72, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong. And it may I could be wrong, but there was a guy in I think Uganda had won it. I'm trying to think that might have been one of the last times they lost, but I don't think they did though. I'll look. Do me a favor, look that up for me, Jordan, if you can. Mm-hmm. When the last time the U.S. team lost in a 4x4, but that's an event that we traditionally, the United States, we traditionally dominate that because we got some of the best 400 runners in the world living here in the States. Not to say that the other teams are catching up. Don't get it twisted. And throughout the diaspora, there are a lot of great athletes, like the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans are like that cousin you have a rivalry with. They're going to come. You go to the pen relays. The Jamaicans are going to come every year. You like them, but you want to beat them. But at the same time, you like them, but you want to beat them. They're family. You want to beat them and whatnot. That's how I look at the Jamaicans. They're really good. Okay. Now, and so that was the American men's story. The women, on the other hand, the women had some great performances, including a world record performance in the 400-meter hurdles. Sydney McLaughlin from South Jersey. I think that Somerset is I'm going to double check and see. Somerset, New Jersey is technically in South Jersey. Then you had Mo, who's out of Trenton, and she won the gold medal in the 800 meters and ran the anchor for the 4x4 for the U.S. women. And of course, the most decorated woman on that team, the most decorated American athlete at these Olympics, was Allison Felix. And Allison Felix won her 12th medal. She picked up a bronze in the Open 4 yesterday, and she capped her Olympic career. I think she's 35 years old, and she capped her Olympic career. She capped her Olympic career with a gold medal in the 4x4, running the second leg for the U.S. women. The U.S. women won the gold medal easily. And you had some great athletes. You had Sydney McLaughlin on that team, who won the gold in the 400-meter hurdles. Delilah Muhammad, who won the silver. I want to say silver. I think she won the bronze. I think she won the bronze in the 400-meter hurdles. And then you had Ating Mo from Trenton, who won the 800-meter run. So that was probably the most diverse. Because normally you get most of the people you get in a 4x4, you get them, they're mostly 400-meter people. And I will tell you, and that's something that I experienced because I ran track in high school. My event was the 1,500 meters, and terrible long distance runner I was, but my thing with that was I had to run the 4x4, and I didn't particularly appreciate running that event back then. I mean, and they made me run anchor, and I will tell you that I never got walked down when I had a lead. It was just that now kind of catch up. That's another thing. But from that standpoint, the 400-meter run to me is the hardest event to run at any Olympics. And the U.S. women's team had a diverse group of runners running in the open 400 meters, and they pulled it off. And I gotta tell you, and it was also a pleasure. I was watching, the medal stand ceremony, and one of the guys that was giving out the medals was an all-time legend named Alberto Juantorena of Cuba. And however you may think about the Cubans and communism, things of that nature, Fidel Castro, I always liked their athletes. They had the best in the world. And Juantorena in 76, those you old heads who remember him, guy was real tall. In 76, He won the 400 and the 800. No one in the Olympics has done that ever since. The one person who I think may be able to do that is Mo from Trenton by way of the Sudan. I think she can do that. I think she's capable of running in that event. So, like I said again, good performances at these Olympics. The Americans even picked up a bronze medal, and I'm trying to figure out what the woman who also made the semifinals. I got to go back. I'm gonna be looking up because it's been hard to follow boxing in these Olympics. And now on television, you got to kind of go on the internet to kind of find it. And I had to watch some of them on one of NBC's apps. So it's hard to find. But one of the Americans who made it to the semis, Duke Reagan, lost his match to a Russian and got the silver medal. No shame in that. You know, Shakur Stevenson, one of the world champions at 130 pounds, is a silver medalist. The U.S. hasn't won gold at the Olympics in boxing since 2004, and that was Andre Ward. Yeah. Great Andre Ward.
Oh, and the 4x4, they said they haven't won since 2000.
Okay, they hadn't won since 2000. You talking about for the men?
Yeah.
Or the 4x4, or the 4x4 or the 4x1?
I think it says 4x4.
4x4. Okay. All right.
Or excuse me, 4x1 actually. 4x1.
The 4x1.
Yeah.
The 4x1, man. Horrible. Yeah. You know, there was one. I think it was at the second or third leg. I'm gonna tell you, when you pass the baton, and I've run the 4. Now it looked like it was like a bad 4x4. Like a baton passage in a 4x4 is a whole lot different than a 4x1. 4x1, you have to feel that baton in your hand, and you gotta go. You gotta squeeze it, go. We say break, stick, go. That's the language that we use in that situation. We go break, stick, go. And that stick is in you. When that stick touches your hand, grab it. You gotta grab it and go.
Grip it hard and keep gripping it until you hit that finish line, or just get to that other person.
Get to the other person, and you got to grip. And the thing is, you're not even looking. You don't even look back. You don't even look back when you're getting that baton. You don't look back. You never do that. So that's what you. But in the 4x4 is a little bit easier because you can kind of see it because you're standing kind of on the side, and you can kind of see it, and you grab it. And and then when you get that baton, you run like you ain't never. You run like the cops are chasing you, something like that. You run like you like, oh, I got to go home and I got to run for. But the thing about the 400 meters, though, man, I'm telling you, and I can tell you from personal experience, the 400 meters to me, when they say the fastest man on the earth, to me. The 400 meters, to me, that should be the race where you're the world fastest human. Because you guys sprint an entire quarter mile or the metric equivalent of a quarter mile. And then when you reach that part, it's always that last 220 or last 200 that separates the men, the women from the boys and the girls, okay? Because you got that 200, and that race hurts. Let me tell you but when you finish and you get a PR and you PR in that race, man, that's the greatest feeling in the world. Gotta take some calls. 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. You want to talk Olympics, Phillies, basketball, whatever you want to talk about the Eagles training camp. Let's we can talk about it today. We should have Shalice on at 11:30, depending upon what her work cycle is today, because I'm sure she's busy covering because it's nighttime over in Japan. But we got Brother Joe from Germantown. Brother Joe, what is happening, sir?
Hey, what's up, brother? What's up, brother Chris, and your wonderful producer, Brother Jordan Booth, beautiful young brother, man. How y'all doing tonight, Chris? How y'all doing today?
I'm doing great this morning. I'm doing okay.
Oh, by the way, Chris, we got to get together at some point, Chris, so you can pay me my sandwich that I beat you on that dollar.
Oh man, oh you right, man. I got to get that sandwich for you, brother Joe, man.
We get together one day. We get together one day.
We get there one day. I love to have lunch with you too, just that lunch with you.
What's that, Chris?
I said I'd love to have lunch, just to have lunch with you, man. Just to sit back and kick it like good. Kick it like good fellas.
The Phillies mutual, man. Yeah, the Phillies hot. Congratulations to the first place Phillies and stuff, man. They're in first right now. Let's see if it lasts. But they're in first, and that's a good thing. You know, they're in first right now. But again, I don't know how long it may last. You know, but that's right now they're in first. You know, but Chris, before I talk about the track and field and the Olympics and stuff, once again, Chris, you know when it comes to race, Chris, I'm obsessed with race. I make no bones about it. When it's racism, now you see RG3. Retired, he's going to be an analyst for ESPN. Now he said that he'll keep his options open if a job come open. I mean, you know, see, when I see people like Stephen A. Smith and these guys, Perkins, they got a big mouth on everything, but they don't look at the obvious. Now you mean to tell me? We know that Robert Griffin, because of injuries and other mental issues, not having his head on, I guess, strong enough, he hasn't lived up to his ability as a number one draft pick. I hear you that. But you look around the league at some of these mediocre white quarterbacks, and you mean RG3 can't stay in the league and steal money, like some of these bum white quarterbacks that he has to retire and say, hope he gets somebody throw him a bone and get a job. I mean, come on, man. I looked at this bum for the Cowboys the other night, a complete bum. But he and stuff like that. You mean to me RG3 can't take his place? I mean, but see my point, brother Chris and Jordan. When you're a black quarterback, if you're not an elite quarterback like Patrick Mahomes or Randall Cunningham or Russell Wilson, they don't let you still around and stay in the league and steal money like these white guys.
No, hello? Are you still with me, brother? It looks like we lost him. Okay.
Yeah, you might have lost him.
Okay, well, I get that. And my whole thing at the end of the day, no, black quarterbacks don't get to quote unquote steal money like that in a way, and black quarterbacks don't get to I don't know, we don't get to be quote unquote the average guy up out on the field and whatnot. And I certainly for one don't always get that because if a white guy can do it, then I think we should get those kinds of opportunities in the game. And sometimes oftentimes we don't. And I get that, I do get that, and I think that at the end of the day, there's always that double standard that always kicks in when it comes to black athletes, and I for one get that, but at the same time, you got to strive. I do think that RG3 he was a capable backup with the Ravens. He absolutely was. He was a capable backup with the Baltimore Ravens. And so, but I don't mind him getting out of the game. They can there's always room for good analysts in the game. So from that standpoint, I'm happy to see it. He'll probably say something cornballish or something dumb. I don't know, like any other athlete, but I'm happy for him. So let me take Fishman.
Oh, I think we got Brother Joe back.
We got Brother Joe back?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bring Brother Joe back. Okay, Brother Joe, finish your point.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, and I'll be real brief so Brother Fishman could get on. And that's all I was saying, Chris, is the doubles, the brothers, they don't get the same respect. The brothers, if they don't show it and be consistent, they out of the league. Vince Young, we all know Vince Young had his issues, but me and Vince Young is not better than some of these bum white quarterbacks. Not just some of the white starters. Vince Young better than some of the white, forget the white backups. He better than some of the white starters. He was right on out of the league. You see Quincy Carter. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And look at the stuff that's going on right now. I love Deshaun Watson, but why would you bring Deshaun Watson here when you got Jalen Hurts competing for the job? See, I always put a black quarterback against another black quarterback. If Deshaun Watson, Chris, don't want to play in Houston no more because of the ownership and all the other things that Jalen Hurts and stuff, man. Well, I mean, why a black quarterback got to be used to hurt another black quarterback? Chris, if you understand where I'm coming from, man. See, they do this all the time.
I understand where you're coming from, and you know the way I look at that situation is that let us see what Hurts can do. I mean, we don't know. I'm here.
Give him a chance.
Yeah, give the guy a chance. I agree with you. And like I say, Joe, I got to move on to the next call before I go to break. And thanks for the call. But I want to get Fishman in here for a quick second too. Fishman, how are you, man? You got to buy him to fry him, and you got to hook him to cook him.
Why you always try to steal my line? And then
that's not a tribute to you, though. That's my platitudes to my brother, to you.
And you wear my hat.
No, that's my hat, bro. That's my hat. But go on, man.
My grandkids have turned me on to this venue, and guess what? I can see you live. God bless you, and may heaven keep smiling upon you. Hey, Harold Carmichael going into the Hall of Fame NFL. Guess what? I met Harold Carmichael one time at Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, #1 at the old Spectrum, and me and him had a great time together. And you know, I just want to go back down memory lane with that one. Harold Carmichael, Philadelphia, #17, 6'10", 200 pounds.
Okay, I thought he was 6'8", but okay, yeah, you're close. All right, I'll take it.
I got it close. All right, brother, I'm gone.
All right, man. All right, yeah. Now Harold Carmichael, before we go to break, was one of the great receivers, and he learned his craft at Jackson State. No, at Southern. I always get them two mixed up. At Southern University. And he was one of the, and I have to tell you, when we come back from break, I got to tell you a little story about Harold Carmichael because he was a great guy and just one of the all-time great players in the league. But you're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD, but Chris Murray reporter will be right back.
Geico presents Motorcycle Word of the Day. Today's word is tank slapper. Is a tank slapper used to describe a handlebar wobble? Or is it a motorcycle joke that is so funny you just have to slap the gas tank with your hand as you laugh? As in...
Oh, man, Daryl told me a great joke last night. It was hilarious. It was something about a dog wearing sunglasses. I wish I could remember. It was a real tank slapper.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
If you've got an insurance question, you could talk to your Nana, but she'd probably just tell you how she insured her couch from stains by covering it with plastic. Or you could talk to your local Geico agent. They'll give you a different kind of warm and fuzzy, with personalized assistance for all your insurance needs, like how you could be saving on your policies. So let your Nana cover her couch in plastic, and let a local Geico agent help cover you, but not in plastic. To find a Geico agent near you, visit geico.com/local.
Hope Partnership Middle School offers a quality, subsidized independent school education to students and families in North Philadelphia. Located at 2601 North 11th Street, Hope offers small class sizes, personalized learning, a research-based curriculum, dedicated teachers, and a graduate support program, which supports students through high school graduation. They are currently accepting applications for 5th to 7th grade students for September. For more information, please contact them at info@hope-partnership.org.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Save the date. Thursday, August 26th for WURD Radio's annual Founders Day celebration, honoring the life of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. This year, we'll be both in person and virtual. Stay tuned to WURD Radio and WURDradio.com for more information. That's Thursday, August 26th for our annual Founders Day celebration. Exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Founders Day is brought to you by Pico, Keystone First, Bank of America, Ready Set Philly, Comcast, Brown's Family ShopRite, and Temple University. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. I'm hoping that Sharice Manson Young is going to call in at about 11. And Jordan, let me know when she calls in and whatnot. But then again, like I say, she may call in at 11:30. Whenever she gets in, if it's 11:30 or if it's 12:30, hey, bring her in, man, because I want to get the Olympic vibe going in today. For me, I love the Olympics. I love track and field. So,
yes, sir.
And boxing, in which they don't show. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm mad that they don't make boxing early available. I mean, you gotta you had to look, man. I had to go on the app. To find boxing. And boxing. Well, back in the day when we were kids, you were polishing off stars from heaven at that point. But we were basically, we got boxing because you had Howard Cosell and all that, and you got to know Sugar Ray Leonard and all that. There's a whole history behind it that I can break down for y'all when we come back, when we talk about it. But boxing was always, that's why I liked ABC. ABC always showed boxing. And I don't like how NBC has covered this. And I like gymnastics, and I'm glad Simone Biles got that bronze medal. We'll talk about that too. And I'm happy for her. But you can show all the things that appeal to women and men, and women love boxing. Why is this kept? So let's talk to Walter Davis, my good friend and compadre in this field of journalism. Walter, what's happening, man? What's on your mind, brother? How you doing?
I couldn't call it, Chris, as you gave me a calling card. Good morning to you, sir.
I'm doing okay. So
I strongly concur with your callers. One thing I've always loved about Germantown Joe, whom I used to be on a show with the old Johnny Sample show, the other station, WATT, back in the day.
Right.
He hit it on the nose. I really empathize how they've taken Jalen Hurts, and I can't understand why they're not naming him the starting quarterback right now. After taking him through the malarkey, you say goodbye to other players, and you bring in almost a 40-year-old, which I think he's going to help a lot. Joe, I can't think of his name, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens.
Joe Flacco.
Flacco, yeah, New Jersey guy too. But at the end of the day, I really empathize, and that's been the crux of his career. It was from Alabama, and it was at Oklahoma State, and all. Jalen Hurts he's got some thick skin. He's got some real thick skin to go through all that he has gone through in his career. That's what I empathize with more.
Yeah, I get that, Walter, and that's the thing. And the thing is, folks are trying. I haven't been down there yet. I have been busy with in my Clark Kent career of being a college professor and I'm teaching so I'm busy with that, and I've been hearing, but I've been reading, and a lot of people say that he has to work on consistency. He's a young quarterback. I get that, and I think that he'll work out. There's some people who say that he's connecting well with Devontae Smith, who's hurt, who's out. But my thing is, let the kid get his reps. Get him out there, and I think he's gonna play well. And you have a kid who works hard. I give him he should be the starter. And I think if you put that if you put that pressure on him, I think he will do it. I still believe that he can do well if they play things right. I don't know how good the offensive line is going to be yet.
Yeah.
There always going to be some injuries. We don't know what this team. We don't know whether or not if Coach Nick Sirianni is actually in over his head. There's some people talking about the fact that they think that this current Eagles coach might be a little bit in over his head. I don't know that until I start seeing games. And I don't think you can tell. I mean, you can tell some things in training camp and in practices, but some guys do better when the lights are on.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is kept when he transferred to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that happened was he was fighting for that job against a freshman, and it was a struggle. But somehow he got the job and he led them to a college football playoff. That's college. I get it. It's not the pros. Okay, all right. But the thing is, try to design the offense to what his skill sets are. They do it. They did it for Joe Montana. They do it for a lot of quarterbacks. Okay, they do it for a lot of quarterbacks. They did it for Carson Wentz here. Carson Wentz just screwed it up. But the thing is, I think Hurts can play, but let the camp mean before we make these pronouncements. Let camp go. Let the thing happen. People in this town kill me with that. Let it happen. He's not going to. We don't know that yet. He might come out and lead the team to a 7-0 record when we started. I don't know. We don't know. Or he can be 0-7. You never know. So it's going to be a lot to look at. So that's all I can say about that for right now. Because I'll be down at camp this week. I will be there.
You'll be on top of it. Last quick question too, Chris. Harold Carmichael gets inducted into the Hall tonight. A Philadelphia favorite and all. Is he among not the top 10, not the top 5, but maybe the top 3 receivers Philadelphia has ever had?
I would say you're talking about Tommy McDonald, Pete Retzlaff. You want to talk about Mike Quick. You want to talk about some other guys who got Mike Quick. You want to talk about those guys. I mean, the Eagles have had some good receivers. I mean, you talk about Harold Jackson. You can talk about him.
I forgot about him. Yeah, Harold Jackson.
Yeah, you can talk about Harold Jackson.
You know them, Chris. You know them. Wow, you're right. You do some names that I send in memory lane. Wow.
And so I look at Harold Carmichael. Harold Carmichael had that streak. He broke that reception streak. That was a record once held by Danny Abramowitz of the New Orleans Saints. And he broke that record and was one of the most difficult receivers to guard. And he played in an era that where defensive backs were physical. I mean, defensive backs were really, really physical in those days, and they could do what you want. I mean, the whole concept of bump and run was that they were allowed to bump you up and down the line as long as when the ball was in the air, they had to stop. And so, and the person, and this is a story. This is a story I meant to talk about on the break. This is a story I meant to share that Harold Carmichael shared with me and some others on a phone call. Or he shared this with me. He was telling me about Mel Blount. You see, Mel Blount played against him. They were both at Southern, and they had to play against each other in practice. And supposedly, Harold Carmichael was dating Mel Blount's cousin or niece or whatever, or something like that. Okay, so from that standpoint, and by the way, I just got a text in from Shalice Manson Young, who's going to call in about 10 minutes. But going back to that story, I guess it didn't work out between Harold Carmichael and Mel Blount's cousin. And basically, Mel Blount would rub him up in practice. And so Harold said that prepared him for the league. And you know what a great cornerback Mel Blount was. And if you don't believe me, if you can find Golden Richards, the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl 10. he had fun with Golden Richards. He did things to Golden Richards in that Super Bowl that you should be arrested for assault.
Wow.
That's how much he roughed up Golden. If anybody who watched football from that era, I was a kid. I was like 14, and he's like he roughed up. I mean, I remember the game. He was just every time there was a play, just roughing him up, just pushing him all over the place, and he was never a factor in that game. The one as a matter of fact, the one threat to Cal, the real threat to Cal was Drew Pearson, who's another guy that I'm proud to see in the game. Him and Harold Carmichael, man. I mean, Drew Pearson should have been. Both of those guys should have been in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. They should have been in that Hall of Fame. They should have been in there, man. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy that they're just going in now. But those guys are just great players. I mean, I'm sorry. You got me going, son. I mean, you got me going. I mean,
this was a long overdue thing. Appreciate you, Chris.
Hey, appreciate you, Walt. I gotta get you. We gotta talk some Sixers history at some point, man, on this show. You know all the bodies are hidden. So
great show.
Thank you. BG from Germantown. What's going on, Germantown? What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, Chris? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. I'm talking about sports. I'm up today. God has placed me right where I need to be. I'm happy today. What's happening?
Well, I'm sick because the Lakers picked up Westbrook, and I was hoping they got Bradley Beal. I don't like Westbrook's game. I don't care what his stats say. I think he's the most overrated player. He's been traded. He couldn't play with Durant. He couldn't play with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. He couldn't play with James Harden. He's a chemistry killer, but if he messes up with LeBron, it's going to hurt. The pressure's on him. It ain't on LeBron and Davis. They got rings. Because his legacy's on the line. Because when you can't, LeBron can play with anybody. He can play with Kyrie, Wade, all them guys. So he better show up. And he's the exact opposite of Ben Simmons. He shoots too much. He can't shoot the three, and he's always shooting it. He makes bad. I don't know what they're doing in bringing Carmelo Anthony in there. I don't like. The only move I like, they brought Dwight Howard back. But I was hoping.
I don't like that. Well, I would. Well, Dwight Howard did okay with the Sixers. I mean, he did okay.
He's back with the Lakers because he's better than Drummond. He shuts down the lane better, and he got boards. He roughed that guy Joker up when they played Denver that year. If they would have got Bradley Beal, I definitely think guaranteed the Lakers would win the championship this year. I'm not confident. LeBron and AD better play out of their mind because I don't like Westbrook's game. It's just, everybody talking about how hard he hustles, but he plays a lot of unintelligent basketball to me. It makes a lot of bad decisions out there. I don't like his game. I don't like it. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm just hoping the Sixers, because it's apparent, what I'm hearing is that basically Simmons doesn't want to talk to his teammates or to the rest of the team, and which means that Ben Simmons is not for long. But I gotta tell you, Jordan, between me and you, and of course the rest of everybody listening, I have NBA Live on my iPad, and it is one of my. Everybody has guilty pleasures. Sports games. I also have some card games like spades. And I play spades. I love playing spades, man. I love because especially trying to play the computer. But I have NBA Live on my iPad. I'll show you the iPad. I show the iPad up here. I always keep my iPad with me, and so I pulled together all the Sixers. I bought all the Sixers. I bought the Sixers starting lineup from last year. A Sixers team that had Ben Simmons, and by the way, they signed Danny Green to a 2-year contract. The man who trashed Philly fans, they're gonna love him next year. And of course, Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, Simmons, and Joel Embiid. And in this game, I had Ben Simmons take a couple of shots from the foul line and not the 3-point line, but behind the key, and he hit them. Now, if we can only bring Cyberben, to
there you go. Bring
Sixers,
him in.
I mean, if we could just, can we put a chip inside Ben Simmons, and can we put the jump shot?
Yeah, get like a memory card installed on him or something.
Yeah, I mean, you know how in video games they let you mess with the artificial intelligence and everything.
Right.
Can we do that? Can we do that for Ben Simmons? Just put the jump shot gene in them, or the jump shot cube into him, and all that. And if he does that, we'll win the championship. Now, I'm being facetious. And we got to win him. I just had to throw that. I had to tell you that today, Jordan.
Man, that's funny.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to 96.1 FM, Metro AM, WURD, the Chris Murray Report, and other cyber myths. We'll be right back.
Berger Montague is a Philadelphia-based plaintiffs' class action law firm committed to helping Philadelphia's black community. Berger Montague maintains a strong commitment to fostering diversity and equity throughout the legal community and in society in general. In 2020, Berger Montague filed a pro bono case against the IRS when they refused to send COVID-19 stimulus checks to federal benefits recipients with dependent children. Thanks to Berger Montague, people across the United States were able to obtain dependent benefit checks that they desperately needed. Berger Montague supports WURD Radio and Philadelphia's black community. For more information about Berger Montague Law Firm, please call 215-875-3033 or email at info@bm.net.
James Schuler Boxing Gym is now offering youth and team boxing classes beginning Saturday, July 31st. Gain confidence, body strength, camaraderie, and boxing skills. Physical fitness is great for mental and physical health. Go to jamesschulerboxing.com for more info and registration, or call 215-399-7483. That number again is 215-399-7483.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
You might be enjoying the hot days of summer, but your smartphone probably isn't. Hotter temperatures can potentially damage your phone, so here are some things you can do to keep it cool. Don't leave your phone in direct sunlight or locked in a car if possible. And if you don't absolutely need it, ditch the smartphone case too. That can easily trap heat. Change the settings to lower the brightness, turn off data, put your phone in airplane mode, or try to do less high-powered activities like gaming. If you do notice your smartphone overheating, turn it off and take out the battery if you can. And don't try to cool it down by putting it in a refrigerator or freezer. Just keep your phone in a cool area for a while until it returns to room temperature. Stay cool, stay tuned to WURD for more tips, and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we're back. We don't have Shalice yet calling in from Japan yet. I gave her the number and everything, and by the way, if you look on my Facebook page, ladies and gentlemen, there's a picture of me and Allison Felix. I had the great pleasure, Jordan, of interviewing Allison at one of the Penn Relays. I want to say it was either 2013 or maybe 2011, 2012, because I was teaching. I think that might have been the semester I was teaching at Temple at the time. And if you look on my Instagram page, you'll see a picture of me and Allison Felix and all that. And I interviewed, and that was also interviewed Sonia Richards Ross, Sonia Richardson Ross, or Richards Ross. At that Penn Relays, and also Justin Gatlin and LaShawn Merritt at that same those U.S. sprinters. And Allison Felix is just she is the GOAT, the greatest of all time among American women track and field stars, and that's saying something considering Florence Griffith Joyner, Gail Beavers, and a whole, good Lord, some Wyoming Attias, and a whole lot of other people, and from Tennessee State Tiger Bells, 1960, who was named for some reason I can't remember, and good Lord. Anyway, and we do have Shalice on hold, but before I get to Shalice for a second, I do have to talk about Allison Felix stands with Paavo Nurmi, a great Finnish distance runner with 12 track medals, and she's among the Americans. She's won the most of all time, and she has just finished. She's a great person, and she's a mom, and she pulled off a gold and a bronze in this Olympics. And calling in from Tokyo, Japan, who has worked, a woman who is probably the hardest working woman journalist in the business right now, or hardest working person in the business, period, is Shalise Mansa-Young and whatnot, covering the Olympic track. Shalise, how are you today? And what did you think of this entire week? How was it covering your first Olympics and covering, some of the greatest athletes in the world?
Hey, Chris. Personally, it was a dream. I love track and field. I've loved track and field for most of my life. I've written that the sport probably saved my life when I took it up in high school. And I coach track and field. I coach at a school in Boston, and I have for well over a decade. So this sport is it for me. It is my favorite by far. So on a personal level, the last 10 days have just been a dream. I saw 2 world records come down, several Olympic records, and it's just been amazing. It's been a phenomenal track meet. A little disappointing for the American men. They, of course, did not appreciate that, knowing that people were saying that. In particular, the fact that the men's 4x1 team didn't even make the gold medal race. But, overall, just an incredible track meet, really well run, some amazing performances. And, at least on the women's side, the American women look amazing.
Oh, yeah, the American women were amazing. And, of course, and I would say the women throughout the diaspora in general, the African diaspora, were amazing. I mean, I think I texted you about the 1,500 race between Kipyegon and Hassan, Safin Hassan. And that race alone was, to me, one of the most exciting because Hassan had this habit of always starting in the back, and even in one of the heats in the 1,500, she was in the back, and then she always caught the field. But I think she was placed in a dilemma against Kipyegon, Faith Kipyegon of Kenya, because she was really good at that event. And I had to give Hassan credit for trying to run up front, but Faith Kipyegon, was going to win that race. I kind of knew just, because she was really strong, and the Kenyans are always traditionally strong in that race. So it was good to see things other than the Americans, but I got to get back to the Americans, though. Allison Felix, she's a mom. I've talked to her at a couple of Penn relays, and, she's amazing to me. What can you say about the legacy that she leaves this Olympics with? Bronze in the I was hoping she would just win one more time, but the young lady from the Bahamas was just great. Shawnee was great. I mean, Shawnee was great the last time, but she was even better this time. But what's the legacy Allison leaves in this Olympics?
Allison is one of one. I heard you talking about her. She really, obviously the 11 medals, more than any woman ever in the history of track and field. She now is the most decorated track and field Olympian, American track and field Olympian. She did surpass Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis had 10. Allison now has 11. But what's really amazing to me as a woman and as a mother is the pivot that she made. For years, she was very content to run and win and was very quiet. And that's fine. Not everybody is an activist or, is really comfortable being outspoken. She said herself, she just wants people to be happy all the time. But then her daughter was born, and she had a really rough experience. She had to have an emergency C-section because she had very high preeclampsia. They had to rush her into the emergency room, the OR at 32 weeks, and to save her life, to potentially save her baby's life. And that just changed everything for her. You know, she learned, as so many of us do, the maternal mortality rate for Black women, which is 2 to 6 times what it is for non-Black women, depending on where in the country you live. She went through her ordeal with Nike, that when she got pregnant, it was time for her to renew her contract with Nike, and they literally offered her 70% of what she had been making in her previous contract with them. And, you know, they had a history of the women who ran for them, once they got pregnant, they really pressured them. They withheld payments on their contracts until they came back to run, and there were multiple stories. So Allison put her foot down. And, you know, I know it's been talked about a little bit, but I need people to understand this woman went out in the last year or so and started her own shoe company. And she won these 2 medals in spikes that she designed for the company that she is CEO of. And if that's not a flex, I don't know what is. So she's just, she's incredible. She's, you know, she's pretty soft-spoken. You know, you could kind of tell tonight she was a little uncomfortable because, of course, the other 3 members of the 4x4 team were asked about Allison and the legacy, and, you know, that particularly Athing Mo and Sydney McLaughlin literally grew up watching Allison Felix, right, just rack up championships and medals left, right, and center. And you can kind of tell that Allison was uncomfortable hearing them talk about her, but her legacy on the track, obviously unmatched, and what she may continue to do off the track for women and mothers, we're just starting to see what she's going to do off the track.
Wow, that's an incredible story you told there, and that's absolutely true. And like I say again, you know, that's why in some respects I've had Marlise Lawrence Corbin on here talking about Serena Williams, and you know, those stories are amazing to me. And it's like I say again, we talk about Black girl magic. I like to say Black women magic, but you know, it's really amazing. But you know, I'm proud of her because I'm a former trackster myself. I ran track. I was a 400 meter to 1500 meter. I was terrible at all of them, but the thing is. Heck, you know, I'm gonna tell you, I PR'd in the 1500 meters my sophomore year. I finished last at the city meet in Baltimore. I finished in last. I'm still proud of that. You know, the pack,
you know what? PR is a PR.
Yeah, PR is a PR and whatnot. You know, now, of course, nowadays I think I run the 100 in about 9.1 days. But the thing is, and there's a lot of work out there. But I gotta say though, going back to the women's team, I look at someone like, and I got to go to break in a minute, but I'm going to keep you for a few minutes, you know, before that, or after that. But one of the things that the world record set by Sydney McLaughlin and I think Delilah Muhammad finished 3rd, but the was that a world record or Olympic record? I think that was a world record. To see her smash that world record, I mean, you got to feel good for the future about women's track because there's some really fast young girls coming up. Even the ones who finished, young women who finished, you know, who finished in like silver and bronze in the other sprint events. You got to feel good about the future, right?
100%. Sydney broke the world record, and actually Delilah Muhammad broke the world record as well in that 400-meter hurdle final. Broke the previous world record. Of course, it just goes down as, you know, Sydney owns the record, but they both, that was the fastest women's 400 hurdle race there's ever been. Even the woman who finished 3rd, Femke Bol from the Netherlands, she was within 2/100ths of the world record that was in place, you know, when the race started. Sydney is incredible. Athing Mo, 19-year-old daughter of immigrants from Sudan, refugees from Sudan, to be 19 years old and to win 2 gold medals. She said to us in no uncertain terms after she won the 800 that she wants to be the first woman to win the 4 and 8 in one Olympics. There's only one other human being who's ever done it, and it's a man.
Alberto Wantorena.
That's right. She said in no uncertain terms she wants to be the second person to do it. The Open 100, Tiana Daniels is fairly young, made it to the final. So the women's team was incredible. I was actually just writing about it. The United States won 26 track and field medals, 7 gold medals. 5 of the 7 gold medals were from the women. 15 of the total medals were by the women, 10 by the men, and that 26th one was the mixed relay, so 2 from each. So yeah, it's just amazing, and it was interesting to see. And Dalilah Muhammad has given no indication that she's retiring anytime soon, but Dalilah's 31, Allison Felix is 35, and the other 2 women on that 4x4 tonight were 22. Sydney's birthday is today, actually. She turned 22, and the thing is 19. So.
Yeah. Hey, Shalice, I got to stop you real quick. Okay, yeah, I got to go to break, but I'm going to bring you back. We're going to talk about this as we move forward. You're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM WURD. The Chris Murray Report will be right back.
In Philly, COVID-19 vaccines are safe, free, and effective. It protects you from contracting the COVID-19 virus. Vaccines do not change your DNA or contain microchips. Caribbean people are not immune to the deadly virus without COVID-19 vaccine shots, and it does not affect your immigration status. Join us for our back-to-school COVID-19 vaccination resource fair on Saturday, August 21st from 11 to 3 p.m. at Sturgis Recreation Center in Albany. Free food, school supplies, and vaccines. Visit www.caribbeancommunityinphiladelphia.com, Facebook or Instagram page. Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. The second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
Are you a small business owner in Philadelphia or New Jersey? Are you looking for ways to grow your business but don't know where to start? You may qualify for a Job Creators Quest grant for up to $11,000. This grant supports diverse small business owners who are women, people of color, LGBTQ, military veterans, or located in a low to moderate income area. Imagine what you could do with extra funds to improve your company, hire more people, invest in marketing to promote your business, or even add technology to be more efficient. Founders First is on a mission to support diverse-led small businesses, and we are giving 20 grants to the local small business community for a total of $60,000. For more information, visit www.phillygrants.org. Again, go to www.phillygrants.org for details and to apply today. Congratulations to all job creators from Founders First.
The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The Black Words book for September is Race Against Time, The Politics of a Darkening America by Keith Boykin. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, September 14th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention 4Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live on wordradio.com, the Word Radio app, or watch live on Word TV via Facebook and YouTube. Word Radio, independent Black media. You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Okay, we are back. We have Shalice Manson Young at yahoosports.com. So the future looks bright, Shalice, for the women, I believe. And like I say again, I think Mo will be the woman version of Alberto Juantorena, or you could say years from now that Juantorena is the woman version of Mo. But what about the men? I gotta ask about the men because. Was that on like in the shot put the men won the shot put? I think the men did men win the pole vault too, or is that someone else? I don't think we won the pole vault.
No, silver in the pole vault.
Yeah, silver in the pole vault. But on the track, I mean, there was a lot of disappointments in the 400 and the 100 hurdles and the 400 hurdles, the 400-meter run. What happened to this team? Was this a thing about youth, or just not performing up to where they needed to perform, or what they were capable of doing in this Olympics?
I think it was more of the latter, that they just didn't perform up to what they could have. It's Christian Coleman, who is, the fastest. He won the 100 at the 2019 World Championship. But he's suspended right now because he missed some drug tests. So he was unable to be here. But Trayvon Bromell came into the Olympics having run the two fastest times in the world. He ran like 9.68 and 9.70, I think. Coming into the Olympics, nobody else had been able to, close, but, he came in as the favorite. He didn't even advance to the final. Noah Lyles came in reigning world champion in the 200 meters. He got bronze, wasn't able to get a gold medal. Sam Kendrick, who I don't know necessarily, he might have been in the mix for the gold medal in pole vault. He unfortunately tested positive for COVID while he was here in Tokyo. He had to be yanked. Michael Norman in the open 400, he didn't medal at all, and he certainly should have at least won a medal. Grant Holloway, you mentioned in the 100 hurdles, that was really, really surprising. That was probably the biggest upset of the meet, that Grant Holloway got silver, and the young man whose name is escaping me from Jamaica ended up, getting him and winning the gold. Holloway's form just fell apart between hurdles 8 and 9. So they were defensive, like Benjamin was asked about it tonight, about the showing by the American men, and he got very defensive and said, well, we're young and this is a team in transition and a lot of the guys are coming off NCAA seasons, but it's not true for everybody. Trayvon Bromell hasn't run in college in several years, and Ry Benjamin and Michael Norman haven't run in college in several years, and they both have world championship experience. And Arian Knighton is 17 years old, just started sprinting 3 years ago, and he came in fourth in the 200. So, his reasoning and excuses don't really hold a lot of water. I don't know what it is. I think they underperform. And I know there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that. I know that, USA is supposed to win, and the United States certainly won the medal count. They got 26 medals, and the next closest countries got 9 each. So it wasn't that they didn't win the medal table. It's just that, first of all, in 2016, there were 32. So somewhere along the line, there were 6 medals fewer. And then just the women got 15 and the men only got 10. So the women did their job. The men just, other countries, I think part of it is other countries put a lot more, the government support is there, and it's not as much in this country, which is part of it. But yeah, I think it was a disappointing showing. I know they don't want to hear that, but it's a disappointing showing.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and the sprints, I thought and I thought in the 400-meter hurdle race, the guy from Norway who set the world record, I mean, when a guy does that, you tip your hat to him, but I was expecting more, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan. I saw that 4x1, and I mean, Carl Lewis. I was nice. What did you think of Carl Lewis's comments? Because the 4x1, I mean, the way that pass, and you and I both know that in the 4x1, the pass has to be really clean. You're not even looking back at the guy handing the baton to you if you do it cleanly and you practice it on a regular basis. What did you think of Carl Lewis's comments? Was he spot on? I mean, was he the old guy saying, "Get off my lawn"? I mean, were his comments spot on with that?
No, I thought his tweet was spot on. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't. And this is a problem now for the United States going back multiple years. It's either front of the exchange zone issues, end of the exchange zone issues, a couple of drops, and this was a new low. I mean, to not even advance to the final and have a chance to win a medal, to me, this is a new low. I mean, according to the athletes, I ended up writing sort of a column about this the other day because I was stunned. Like, for a couple of hours after that, I just could not believe that the American men did not even finish 8th out of 16 teams to get into the final. I think Carl Lewis is right, and he obviously knows better than I do, but Noah Lyles had already run his 200-meter final. He should have been in the prelim. I'm sorry if you were, quote-unquote, saving him for the final. That's that hubris. They deserve to lose based on that hubris. Lyles works on his curve incessantly. He should have been the one out of the blocks to run the first curve. Hand it off. Right. And then have Curley, Fred Curley ran the backstretch. Fred Curley should have been, to my, way of thinking, should have been run the second curve and then hand off for the straight. And I think the lineup was bad. They didn't practice hardly at all, according to the 3 of the 4 guys that talked after the race. Cravon Gillespie said it was embarrassing, and I agree with him. This idea that you can just show up and say, oh, we're the United States, and you're going to get the gold medal, those have been long gone. Those have been long gone. And this is even before Usain Bolt and Jamaica's run of dominance in the 4x1 for over a decade. Even before that, there were teams starting to challenge and push the United States. If they're not going to take it seriously, then just say you're not going to take it seriously. Because to me, that was the single most embarrassing thing I saw in 10 days, that the United States men couldn't even get to the final of the 4x100.
Yeah, that was shocking to me as well, because I remember, and you're right, the world has been with the United States. I still remember Donovan Bailey and those guys in the 4x1 with Canada, and to me that I always say Canada's Jamaican team beat, because a lot of the best players go to Canada too. And I want to talk a little bit about the Jamaicans too, because I kind of regard Jamaica in track as like our angry cousins, our cousins that you love them, but you want to beat them too. And I look at the Jamaican women. I mean, that program obviously is strong, and I still like the way the U.S. women challenged. I mean, U.S. women, won the silver, and I think that's going to be a rivalry for years to come and whatnot. I think the women get it, the men don't. And let me backtrack a little bit, because I know I'm going all over the place, but let me backtrack a little bit. What did USA track officials, what did some of the people, the coaches, what were the coaches saying about this performance? Or the people who surround USA track and field? Because I know it reminds me of years ago when the Americans in boxing only got 1 medal in '72, and then they came back with Sugar Ray and the Spinks brothers and all those things. Is there going to be, do you sense that there's going to be a sense of urgency for the U.S. men team to get it better after this, relatively poor showing in the Olympics?
Well, the USATF said they would not make any of the team coaches available until after the meet was over, because the man who's been in charge of the relays, he's named Orrin Richburg, there was a request put in for him, and the answer we got back was that none of the USA coaches would be talking until after the meet was over. Obviously, that's a cop-out. There's that 4x1 was not good for the men. The women were able to figure it out for whatever reason, but the men, again, still had issues getting the baton around. I don't know what the answer is. The talent is there. The talent is there. I think it's just some guys not rising to the occasion. Michael Norman ran phenomenal 400s a few years ago, and then at the World Championships in 2019, the word is he was sick, but he just had a really bad showing in the semifinals, I think it was. Here, he looked like he was struggling the entire time and didn't really give a reason, you know, in terms of being sick or being injured or something like that. He just didn't look himself the whole time. Noah Lyles hasn't looked good. He didn't look great at the trials. So I don't know. And like I said, Christian Coleman wasn't here at all. So that was a major hole for the United States not having him here, because he certainly would have been pressing. Nobody expected a guy that nobody heard of from Italy, who was born in Texas and raised in Italy, to win the men's 100. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I got up and watched, you know, and I'm probably one of the few people in this country who get up that early in the morning to watch track and field. But that's how much I love it. But like but I wanted to get into the Jamaican question as well, because I think that I love that rivalry. I mean, I see it every year at the Penn Relays. I mean, you see it, but the Jamaican track program is still strong. It's still are they still, in terms of their both men's and women? Are they, even without Hussein Bolt, Safa Powell, you still had you still had their usual top array of runners whose name for some reason, you know, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, who was also another mom. Proud to see her win another gold medal and win a silver medal in this whole thing, and it was just phenomenal to watch them. You know, even though I guess I consider the Jamaicans our angry cousins, we like to be and everything. So Jamaican track program is still strong, right?
It is still strong, and the things that they're focused on, and I think we started to see it a little bit this year, is they are trying to go beyond the 1 and the 2 and the 100 hurdles. They're trying to, you know, go to the 4, possibly go to the 8. They were the bronze medalists in the women's 4x4 relay tonight. I think they had finalists in the women's 400 hurdles and 400. I'd have to double check. So they distinctly, one of them distinctly said, you know, we're trying to get better beyond the 100 and the 200 and the 4x1. And if they do that, you know, they're going to start challenging even more, and that rivalry is going to get even hotter. You know, it was tremendous. You know, you mentioned women of the African diaspora, and just to see, you know, so many beautiful Black women at all distances, you know, from the 10,000 meters on down, even the marathon today, to see them really just shining and running such beautiful races and being such wonderful representatives. I mean, Elaine Thompson-Herah, her 100, I knew it was coming. You know, watching her in the 100 semifinal, and she ran a phenomenal time in the semifinal, and it just looked effortless. And to know that when she was going to be pushed, what she could do, and to break Flojo's Olympic record was just, it was amazing. You know, they really are. And the crazy thing is, Jamaica's won 10 of the last 12, I think, medals in the women's 100. So just totally dominant in that race.
Yeah, and see that it's still good to see. I rooted for Elaine Thompson, and I rooted for. I mean, I always like to root for the Americans, but I always at the end of this meet, like I said, you know, I like the performances. Like I said, you know, I think Safina Hassan, or is it Safira Hassan? I always get her name, her first name, but I like how she ran. I like her as a runner, and that, you know, those were some outstanding performances. The young lady from Belgium in the heptathlon who won. I mean, the thing is, you know, here's the thing, Shalice, I'm trying to make plans to go to Eugene, Oregon next year. And, you know, I want to go to the World Championships. And the thing is, I told my wife, I said, Denise, I want to go to Paris and just to cover track and field and boxing, although boxing I had to struggle to watch. But, you know, but the thing is that I just love it. I mean, it was just fun to watch. And like I said, I just want to, since we had to go to break soon, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for these last 2 weeks, just being here. I owe a great debt of thanks to you, because you've given us some strong reports and good perspective on these Olympics. So I just want to thank you for that. And just give you one last opportunity to say, just to sum this particular meet up in terms of just the performances that you saw, both men's and women's.
I mean, I think it was the men's 400-meter hurdles, the women's 400-meter hurdles, just incredible. 2 world records broken. The men's shot put, to see Ryan Krauser and Joe Kovacs from the United States. I know people don't focus a lot on the field events, but Ryan Krauser had the greatest series of any person ever in shot put history. I mean, he broke the previous Olympic record with all 6 of his throws. I'd really be remiss, for all the talk that we've had of Allison Felix, and rightfully so, we'd really be remiss if we don't acknowledge Brittany Reese, the American long jumper. She said that she's retiring to take care of her son and focus on her son. She has, I think he's like a teenager, but she won silver, walked off the track and said that was it for me. And she won a medal in 4 straight games, I think it is. I mean, just incredible. She has 4 world gold medals outdoors. She has gold medals indoors. She has Olympic medals. Just an incredible legacy that Show leaves behind. And also in general, just amazing performances to see these athletes come out here on the biggest stage. And the other thing that I will take with me is that people were finally discussing mental health, and that these things don't just happen, and that these athletes aren't just fighting through physical ailments and physical issues. A lot of times they fight through mental issues, and it was so great to see them talk about that, especially because, as you know, in the Black community, lack of access is an issue, but also there's, traditionally it's been poo-pooed to get mental health expertise help, and to see Black people, Raven Saunders, who won silver in the shot put, to really just, encourage people. It's okay to say you're not okay. And I think that's another thing that, not just in track and field, but this entire Olympics, that hopefully it continues moving forward.
Absolutely. Shalise, I couldn't have said that better. Thank you so much. YahooSports.com is where you catch Shalise's commentary. And like I say, again, one of the best sports writers that I know in this country and whatnot, and I know more than a few, but you are among the best. Thank you so much. And I'll see you probably at training camp when the Patriots come to Philly, I guess. So I'll see you at some point. But it's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go to break. You're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM WURD, the Chris Murray Report. Will be right back.
Hello, Philadelphia. Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch, and you can contact your local agent for personalized assistance.
But having a trusted insurer could make you question some not-so-trustworthy people, like the friend who says he doesn't want pizza, but when it comes, sure, he'll have a slice.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance, and you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might make you so happy you start to skip everywhere, which could get you nicknamed the Skipper. And do you want that as a nickname? Think on it.
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver. And they offer discounts to military and federal employees.
But when your life gets a little easier, it makes you too carefree and you end up going barefoot everywhere, which is all fun and games until you step on a bee.
Well, Geico is the second largest car insurer in the country and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
Enterprise Exterminators, located at 4943 Wayne Avenue, has been in business since 1976 and can eliminate whatever pest problems you have. Enterprise specializes in bed bugs, lanternflies, and termites. Call for your free termite inspection today. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Enterprise Exterminators, servicing Philadelphia, Delaware, and New Jersey. Call now, 215-849-7070. Ask us about the WURD and senior discounts. The Mattress Man is a second-generation family-owned mattress specialist business since 1988. Open 7 days a week, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. The Mattress Man discounts Serta, memory foam, orthopedic, and ComfortTech mattresses every day. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure you get the best price and best service. The Mattress Man offers same-day delivery on most models to most areas. Ask about the WURD discount. Call 215-424-5550.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Are you looking to hire diverse talent? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a great segment with Shalise Manson. Y'all talking about the Olympics. You want to talk Olympics? You want to talk football? You want to talk baseball? Your Phillies are in first place, believe it or not. Maybe they'll stay. They'll be in first place for the weekend. Who knows? We never know. But the Eagles are coming back. The Sixers signed Danny Green to a 2-year, I think it was $20 million contract. And what do y'all think of Danny Green now about all the things he said about Philadelphia? Y'all gonna boo him and whatnot? I mean, he said some tough things about Philly, but he's back. And I don't know. I think I don't know how we're finding out that maybe Ben Simmons is not as valued around the league as perhaps people thought he was, which I think may be shocking to Ben Simmons himself. But the thing is, when you don't develop your game, man, now the doubt is kicked in. The Lakers have signed a bunch of people, including Russell Westbrook. Lord, you know something, Jordan, is taking my brains a little bit more because I guess it's because I'm so excited to be on the show. But I'm just saying that I don't know. So what? Okay, so Jordan, let me ask you, because you know you're a big fan. I mean, are you willing to welcome back Danny Green after the things he said? I mean, his poor performance, in against Trae Young, not being able to guard him and all that. I mean, what do you think of Danny Green now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, back to him guarding Trae Young. He should have never been guarding him in the first place because he's too quick for him.
True.
So that's number one. And number two, I kind of don't really take it personally because I feel like if you just kind of retaliate back at him for like his statement, that's kind of like, I mean, like in a way, I mean, not many people agree with me, but it's like you kind of just like prove his point a little bit. So yeah, I kind of see it that way.
Yeah, you do in that sense. I mean, but I don't know. I don't think you need to put gasoline on a fire either. I mean, fans here, and there's some days when fans here irritate me. Okay, I get that. Some fans irritate me because a lot of times. They sometimes we expect a superstar. Well, he's making $100 million. Sometimes a superstar can't do it all by himself. Yeah, and we talk about mental health and trying to, deal with those things. But the mindset here is that, well, you can't do everything by himself. Mm-hmm. And we think that, I mean, Philadelphia has a weird relationship with its superstars. I mean, Mike Schmidt, fans didn't like Mike Smith for whatever.
Then I think there's like complications with T.O. Even Jimmy Rollins too. Yeah, Jimmy Rollins supposedly. Yeah,
and J-Roll. I guess I saw J-Roll last night in the booth in the broadcast booth. I was hoping he would come over to the press box and holler at us, but the thing about it, Rollins, I always liked how Jimmy said, "Look, we're the team to beat," and he established that tone in that locker room in a way that he wasn't afraid of putting himself out there and being that guy.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know. I do think there are times when fans can be unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it's not just Philly. I mean, after the Baltimore Ravens lost to the Tennessee Titans, what I understand in Baltimore sports radio, it was all Lamar Jackson is through and this, that, and the other, and I'm kind of like, well, there's a lot of complications to winning and losing. It's a lot hard. It's hard to win a championship. It really, it's hard to win a championship because we don't know all the physical, mental, and other barriers you're going to be dealing with. And sometimes, and then there's the opponent. That's the one thing.
That's it.
Sometimes there's the other guy. And, I remember growing up, and I remember a lot of people know, for all the Dallas Cowboys fans out there, the thing that always gets me about Cowboys fans is that, I don't think a lot of the newer Cowboys fans really know the history of the Dallas Cowboys and how they were always next year's champions and how they always lost to the Green Bay Packers and the Steelers.
Yeah,
I mean,
I say the same thing with Laker fans, Yankee fans, all of them.
You don't know the history and the struggle. I mean, the fact that the Yankees were great up until '64, and then they went about maybe 13 years without a champ. They went. I think they went like almost like 12 years, or maybe it was 14, 15 years between championships. And it's hard to get back there. It's hard to win championships. I mean, to me, one of the greatest Cowboys quarterbacks of all time, who never won a championship and doesn't get the kind of praise I think he deserves, is Dandy Don Meredith, who quarterbacked the Cowboys from their founding up until 1968, and I think there was a situation where he was in a restaurant and a fan saw him and got up and booed him, and I mean, that kind of thing. I mean, fans are rough. I mean, when you don't win, but I don't think really sports fans, because we've been I don't know, we have been brainwashed with the idea of win at all costs. If we don't win the Super Bowl, we don't win anything. And I look at someone like a Donovan McNabb, and I'm saying to myself, well, a lot of people will poo-poo his legacy because he did not win a Super Bowl. Okay? Wasn't entirely his fault. I mean, everybody shares the blame in that. But at the same time, it was one of the most winningest periods of Eagles history. I mean, they were consistently in it. They just didn't win it every year. And of course, you got to consider that Tom Brady and those teams were great. But you also had to consider the Eagles didn't have the best receivers, didn't have the most complete team. The defense was very good, but not dominating like, say, the Buccaneers, the Ravens, and all those, and the Carolina Panthers, teams who had great, I mean, not Carolina Panthers, but the Denver Broncos, who had a great defense when they beat the Carolina Panthers. It's hard to get there. There's a lot of, and football, a team sport like football, it's hard to get there. And a lot of people, I think a lot of people underestimated Donovan McNabb's worth in this whole thing. A lot of people in Philadelphia, I'm probably the only person who would say, and that's because I can look at it maybe a little bit more objectively because I'm from Baltimore, I'm from outside. I don't necessarily, I look at it, I just remember covering the Eagles and every coach around the league, saying that, trying to prepare for Donovan McNabb was just like, oh my God, we got to prepare for this guy. And I hear it, I don't know if it means anything, people poo-poo it, whatever, but I consistently heard that when I was covering the Eagles in those years, and every coach started with, how do we stop Donovan? I mean, a lot of them started with that. Not every press conference, but I would say when we have the opposing coaches call in to the NovaCare facility, that is what I heard. And I tend to listen to football people more than I listen to anyone in sports talk radio or anyone who covers a team for one of the publications. I want to know what the football people are saying. I mean, there's some people that I trust.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like former athletes. That's pretty much who I want to try to mostly listen to. You know, like former athletes, even current ones too.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't mind listening to former. And there's some columnists out here and some journalists out here that are pretty good about that. But you know, in Philly, I'm not saying I'm against everybody in the community, but I think that a lot of the sentiment here is that Eagles fans wanted to win so badly that, you know, sometimes I think that the reasoning, you know, sometimes there's a lot between fans and really taking a step back and looking at it. So, but if anybody disagrees with me on that, let me know. I mean, how do you guys see it? 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. I like to hear what y'all think about that. I want to get everybody's thoughts on what you saw in the Olympics. I want to talk about the Eagles. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts and will he be that guy to lead the Eagles this year? Will he be the latest? Because he is the latest guy who is under fire. Wentz is gone. McNabb and Michael Vick are retired. Nick Foles is not here anymore. Here you are. Here you have Jalen Hurts. And I don't think the city, much less the Eagles coaching staff, no one's really saying that he's going to be the guy. We don't know yet. And we got to see when the bright lights come on what he can do. You know, will we see it during the preseason or will we see it during the regular season? Will he struggle and will he, you know, be the brunt of booing and all that? And will he be just the caretaker so that the Eagles can draft the next, you know, young college phenom out of college? You know, will he be? Is he what I would call Steve DeBerg, who was the guy who was the transition to Joe Montana? Will he be that guy? I mean, in other words, is he the placeholder, you know, for the next great Eagles quarterback, or can he be the next great Eagles quarterback? I mean, some people aren't so sure of that. Some people are saying, well, he's got to be more consistent. But, you know, I always say, you know, this is practice. They're still working some things out, and this is the time to do it. Because he's not, you know, I don't think the Eagles are going to start Joe Flacco just off the top. I think that you got to let this guy develop himself. I mean, and how will Jalen Hurts? I mean, considering everywhere he's gone, he's had to fight for what little he has at this point. I mean, he had Tua Tagovailoa, you know, waiting in the wings, you know, for him. He struggled in the second half of that Georgia game, the national championship, and they finally brought him in. And then, you know, he sits on the bench. He takes his job. He takes his benching like a man. And then when Tua Tagovailoa got hurt in the SEC championship game, you know, he takes over. Then he leaves the program, goes to Oklahoma in a situation where there were many people who speculated that he was close. He barely won that job. He was close to losing that job, and he barely won it. Then he takes a team to a college football playoff game. And in the game that, in the signature game of that year was when his team was down with something like 31-10 or 31-3, or one of those against Baylor. And he brought his team from behind in the second half. So there's some things that you have to like. Then he started 3 games and completed 52% of his passes. Although I think had Peterson let him play a little bit, they might have won that. They might have won that Washington game. So I like to hear what y'all think about all these things. By the way, on the Facebook page, someone mentioned Jaron Ennis. I'm still working to get him on this show to talk, because he's the next best boxing phenom at the pro level that I think is going to make a name for himself outside of Philadelphia, and I think that he is going to be one of the all-time greats of the sport if he's allowed the opportunity to fight for a title and all that. So Jerron Ennis, and like I said, if you guys are listening, y'all need to come. Y'all need to give me a call. I'll call you, and y'all need to be on the show. We can talk about and let everybody around the city know that, hey, we have a champion, a potential future champion at the welterweight division here in Philadelphia. So that's one thing. So 215-634-8065. You want to talk about anything in world sports. You want to talk Olympics, Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, any social issues in sports. You know, the whole thing about some of the blacks, a lawsuit about black football players, that people assume that black people had, stronger skulls or something, some ridiculously racist thing. So anything you want to vent your spleen about, we are here to talk about that. Now we have to go to break. So you're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM WURD. The Chris Murray Report will be right back.
Kamasi Washington brings his fall tour to the Met Philly, one of only 6 dates on the East Coast. Don't miss Kamasi Washington October 20th at the Met Philly. Tickets on sale now as of July 30th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
Hey, WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Join the African American Chamber of Commerce for their signature Building Back Black initiative, a national convening of mayors on Wednesday, August 11th at 9 a.m. This is a free online event featuring mayors from across the country, moderated by 6 ABC Action News anchor Shari Williams, and hosted by the African American Chamber of Commerce President Regina A. Hairston. This town hall reflects on the current state of black businesses in these cities with highly dense African American populations. Additionally, local Philadelphia thought leaders are featured in this special, providing local insight and perspective. This is a free online event hosted in partnership with WURD Radio's Livelihood Initiative. Visit mayorsconvening2021.eventbrite.com to register today.
Tune in Sunday at 1 p.m. for more legal issues with Tony. Legal expert Tony Moore will be taking calls and discussing how to strategize and plan wisely, legally. More legal issues with Tony, Sunday at 1 p.m.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. Well, we got some people calling in. We have Joseph from Massachusetts. Joseph, how are you?
I'm all right.
What's going on, man? What's happening?
I want to talk Olympic track and field, the 4x1, the U.S. dropping the baton.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's a big curse. They say it's because the U.S. team, when they choose, they don't get enough time to practice handling the baton. But there's more to it than that. Like Carl Lewis said, it's a national embarrassment. But he's the coach at University of Houston, where I attended. And his team dropped the baton in the NCAA championship against LSU. I think they went it right out of their zone. You know what it is? America as a country has been so successful. When people become successful, they lose their humbleness. They become arrogant and cocky. And I think that's what the problem is with American relay teams. They tend to be cocky because they've been winning so much. They take it for granted. But it's a lot of practices that passing the baton, right? I mean, how many times they drop that baton in the Olympic championship? In other meets, they don't have no problem with it. So I think what we need to do is we need to be humble with it. What do you think?
I think so too, and I think that the way that they set up, like in a 4x1, the way they set up their team. My thing is, you don't know if you're going to make the finals, and to think that you're so stacked that that you can run, team your B team, that you can run your B team in the in the qualifying heat, then that is an example of hubris. I mean, there's this sometimes you gotta lose. One thing that I have not talked about, and Jordan will agree with me as well, the U.S. men's basketball team. Remember how everybody, basically wanted to bust a gasket after they, lost a couple of exhibition games? Well, they got it together. One of the few entities in this Olympics, along with the men's 4x4 team, they got it together, the 4x400. But, the men's basketball team lost a couple of games and realized, you know what? A lot of people around the world can play basketball. A lot of people can play. Okay? It just doesn't, and what the U.S. men's baseball team found out, the Japanese are some pretty good players. So,
I think the Japanese got the Bronx in the baseball.
They won the gold. They defeated the U.S. today with a gold. 2-0, I think it was. So I think it's a situation where this is the Olympics that says, hey, America, you're a great country, but you can't win it because you can't win everything. I mean, we got players too. I mean, the French when our time last night, it was Saturday night and Sunday morning in Japan now. But last night, Rudy Gobert and the French team really pushed Durant and them to play well. They pushed them. And
what was the score? 92-87 with the French?
Yeah, it was that close. I mean, it was a 5-point game, and the French weren't kidding. I thought it was over when they were up by about 9 points, and the French with about less than a minute left. So they came close, but the thing is, teams aren't afraid of America anymore. They're not in any sport, especially in the.
A lot of them athletes getting their training from the U.S. Basketball, track and field.
Mm-hmm. And they are. And in other words, what you're saying is that we're a victim of our own success. I mean, a lot of Jamaican, players who run for the track team, they've run in American track programs.
Yeah, quick point. In 1986, they had a big write-up. They said 60% of the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championship points went to a foreign born. Like when I went to Abilene Christian, we won 7 straight national championships. We had Molly Lewis, the national Jamaican record holder in the discus, Mazel Thomas, NCAA Division 1 and 2 champion in the high jump. We had Chris Faulkner, 4x1, Greg Magoo, the youngest Jamaican to make the team. So what we need to do, I'm about fairness. We need to come up with a plan where the American athletes don't lose out to the foreign athletes. But anyway, I'll listen up to your comment online. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Well, my thing is this. You're going to compete anyway. You're going to compete with a lot of people, and sports is about. If the foreign athletes want to come, I don't want to be xenophobic. My thing is, the American athletes have access to the same training. Get better. American men in track and field, get better. Get better at your sport. We have Elias from North Philadelphia. What's happening, Elias? Elias? Hello?
Can you hear me? Yeah, this is
I
Rob.
can hear you. Yeah, try it again.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay.
Good, man. Look, I just wanted to add to what you and the last caller were talking about. It's this is a sign of the globalization that we're in right now. You know, before we were all sort of separated, and you mentioned it also, that we're a victim, you know, of our own success. But as a result of globalization, you know, a lot of these guys are at the same universities, they're practicing at the same facilities, and with the basketball, they're on a lot of the same teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's really a bad thing. And you know, and I think that, I mean, you know, American schools, if they're recruiting those athletes, okay, you know, give them opportunity. I mean, Jamaica is not the richest country in the world. For all their great athletes and great, you know, great athletes, and of course the beautiful reggae music that comes out of Jamaica, it's relatively a third world nation, it's a poor country at times. And I think that if, you know, like I say, I always liked the Jamaicans. I like them. I mean, you know, our friends from our brothers and sisters from the islands and all that, because I always remember that in this diaspora, you know, we may have rivalries and all that, but we still share that same black skin. We have different cultures and different accents on that culture and whatnot, but
we're all African, you know.
Right,
that's
absolutely.
The bottom line, and that's the part we have to understand.
Right.
We're all. This is where we originated, you know, from Africa. Even though they're on the islands and we're here, we're all African. And the more we understand that, the better we can come together, like with the support of each other, that with them supporting. And I'm not saying they don't.
Mm-hmm. I think that, you know, they all push each other. I mean, in the track community, for example, you're among friends. I mean, you compete with somebody. You compete with people in sports. But off the track, you know, hey, they understand the struggles. You know, they're in sometimes the same fights with the IOC and USA Track and Field. They're all fighting to make conditions better for athletes. And the way I look at it, I like the competition. I was just to see Elaine Thompson-Herah win that gold medal. Yeah, I wanted to see the Americans win, but you know, or to see Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, who's a mother, to see Allison Felix, who's a mom. You know, excel in ways that, you know, we've never expected women to excel. But I'm proud of that. I'm proud, and I was watching the woman. Faith Kipyegon from Kenya, and she was phenomenal in the 1500, as was the young lady Hassan from the Netherlands, you know, and the woman from Belgium who won the heptathlon. So and the brother from Canada who won the decathlon for the men. So it's, you know, I love the sport. You know, I love sports. I mean, I root for guys from other countries. You know, I like I said again, I talked about Alberto Juan Terrena of Cuba, and I witnessed his wins in both the 400 and the 800 meters. Juan Terrena was bad, man. I mean, Juan Terrena, I think, made it okay to be a tall guy to run in track and field, because a lot of times they felt track and field guys were slow, but he was tall. And no one could beat him in the 400 or the 800. I mean, it wasn't even close. And that guy was just such a great. And Cuba's a part of the diaspora. We always, you know, Cuban boxers are always there, you know, in finals. Like I said, a couple of Americans lost to Cubans, some of the Cubans in the quarterfinals and semifinals. It's always a close match with those guys, and those guys are just great. Those guys are great athletes.
You know, it's always giving us trouble. That Southpaw camp, you know. So they've always been extremely competitive in boxing when it comes to people in America. But like you, I enjoy the competition too. And these athletes, they're finally getting it, man. And just like in the NBA, they really have it, because right now, you know, they kind of like taking control of their careers, and even though they compete on the court, they're coming together when it comes to negotiating their future. So it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. It's always a beautiful thing. So it's always a beautiful thing. So, and thanks for the call because, always good to see brothers, and the sisters around the world. Like I said, I was just as excited. I was just as excited about the win from Faith Kipyegon from Kenya, or to watch Hassan win the 5,000 meters. I mean, that situation. I like competition. I don't care. I mean, even the white dude from Norway who won the gold medal and in the 400-meter hurdles, the guy set the world record. That boy was bad. I mean, my thing is a good performance. A good performance is a good performance. I don't care what anyone says. They may not be from your country or your neighborhood. Like I said, that guy Karsten Warholm, that guy can play. I mean, that guy, man, he ran hard, and like I say, at the end of the day, I mean, guy set a world record. I mean, you can't sniff at that, and that's sports. That's why we like sports. I mean, yeah, there's racism, sexism, homophobia, all the things. But the way we break down those differences, in my opinion, is to appreciate the performance. Doesn't care what color he is. I mean, Larry Bird was a great player. Granted, he played for the arch rival Celtics, and we don't necessarily like things out of Boston, but Bird was a great player. You gotta give it to him. Mike talks about him as being one of the greats of all time. You should. I mean, I just want to see, like I said, growing up, my favorite player was Johnny Unitas, Baltimore Colts. I think it's still the greatest. I think he's the guy who's then the modern quarterback position. So from that standpoint, the way I look at it, the way I see it, one of the things about the Olympics, one of the things about sports, I like to see great people. I want to see world records. I want to see a team. I want to see an NFL record. The one time I witnessed, I didn't witness Tom Brady going for 505 yards in the Super Bowl. That was incredible. The Eagles, like I said, had the Eagles lost that game, Brady would have been the MVP. I mean, Brady was unstoppable. That might have been and Jordan, I don't know if you do agree with me, that might have been Brady's best performance in the Super Bowl. Even though he lost, he was unstoppable, except for Brandon Graham. He was unstoppable. The Eagles could do nothing with Tom Brady. And we are out of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here today. Thank you to Shalise Manson Young at yahoosports.com. Thank you to everybody that called in today. And Jordan, as always, thank you. And thank you to my producer, who is one of the hardest working people in Philadelphia, well, next to me. But Jordan, thank you so much for helping us out and being on the Wheels of Steel today. We'll see you guys next week. And this will on the Chris Murray Report on WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. We'll see you next week.